What's up, everybody? It's Jesse from ONR Aesthetics. It's detail day, favorite day of the week. This morning we're going to see a Cadillac. This is actually the father of a previous customer of mine. He's treating his wife to a great birthday gift. So we're going to get this thing all cleaned up, protected. It's going to look shiny. It's going to be great. She's going to love it. It is cold though. It is definitely the first cold detail day of the year. We got the sweater on. We got the winter pants. We got the beanie and everything, so we're geared up. And I actually got a call early this morning, a couple hours before I left, and he was like, hey, do you want to reschedule this? It's going to be really cold. And I'm looking outside, I'm like, man, sun is shining. This is great for me. But we're up on Long Island, and being able to detail in the cold is a critical part of, making a lasting business here. And you don't want this to be seasonal. So we're going to be doing one of my favorite hoseless washes today. It's, middle fall, so some people, they might still have their water turned on, if they haven't had their sprinklers blown out or anything like that yet. But with the cold months coming up, it's definitely something that's got to be a big part of your game. How do you detail if it's below freezing, if the water's turned off, or even if it is turned on but the line is frozen. So once we get there, I got a couple more minutes of this drive. I'll get the car unpacked, show you guys what we're going to be using. I'll explain it a little bit, and then we'll get a couple shots of it in action, and then some results at the end. So stay tuned for the rest of detail day. All right, guys, so here it is. It's a Cadillac ATS. It's red on red. What we're doing today is we're getting it washed. We're gonna clay it, and then we're gonna apply some new paint protection to the paint and the glass too, using a couple products from Optimum. So we're using their Optimum No Rinse. A lot of people just call this ONR. And then we're gonna be protecting it with Opti Seal, which is a really good polymer sealant. Should last them through the winter, upwards of 6 months, especially if they end up pulling this thing back in the garage. So I'm going to start with the wheels, get this cleaned up, show you guys how we do this, and then we'll hit the paint, and then we'll hit the glass, and just follow along. All right, so to start with the wheels, we've got ONR in the IK sprayer here. All right, this is roughly 48 ounces of water and half an ounce of ONR. The recommended dilution is 64:1, so that would be half an ounce to 32 ounces of water, so give or take a couple of ounces here. But start by getting the wheel soaked. I've got ONR in the bucket here. Now this dilution ratio is a lot thinner. This is 256:1, which is going to be half an ounce to a gallon. So I've got about 3 gallons of water in here. That's an ounce and a half of ONR. Don't try and be a superhero with this stuff. Follow the directions. Less really is more when it comes to this. A lot of people that don't get the results that they're looking for, they're trying to increase the amount that they use. But I just got some specific towels here. I use these only on wheels, all right? And once the wheel is soaked, I've got a towel soaked in solution as well. We're just gonna wipe down the faces, and we're gonna get in between the spokes here and get as many of these details as possible. Now, one thing that's important with this, the whole point of this wash method is that these towels, they never go back into the bucket. So anytime you're reaching into that bucket, whatever you're grabbing is going to have clean solution in it. And when you fold a towel, twice, once in half, once the other way, what you end up with is, 4 working sides before you have to turn that towel inside out and flip it again. And then you reveal another 4 clean working sides. All right. So what I like to do is basically put 2 towels in there, and you have up to 4 sides to use for each wheel to get the job done. And now with ONR, you don't have to worry about drying this. All right. You never want to leave anything just sitting, soaking wet on a surface, but what we'll do after this is we'll come by with some Opti Seal and use it as a drying aid to touch up any of the remaining water and solution here. It'll leave a really nice finish and some protection as well. Now for washing, we're going to take the same ONR, diluted in the pump sprayer here. We're going to get our surface covered. What's great about ONR is that not only does it encapsulate dirt and lubricate it so you can safely remove it from the surface, but it has some emulsifying agents. So as it encapsulates that dirt, what it's actually doing is breaking it down into smaller and smaller pieces, making it easier to remove whatever you're washing. So we're going to get a section done here. All right, get that soaked. And then I have this black sponge here, right? Now you don't want to have this thing sopping wet, just to the point of barely dripping. And it's got these laser cut grooves in here. So what these fingers will do is they'll pick up the dirt from the surface, and then when we drop that back into the bucket later, it'll actually spread out those fingers and release that dirt into the bottom so it can sit with the grit guard. All right. Now we're going to come through and clay this after. Not something you need to do on every single wash, but when you're claying a car, you really shouldn't be, or really under any circumstances, you shouldn't really be sitting here, scrubbing things back and forth for a long period of time. You're just going to end up scratching the paint. All right, so once you get everything removed, we'll get this back in the bucket. We'll move on to the next section. Now it's no different than any other wash method where you want to start from the top and you want to work your way down. And what this ensures is that you're hitting the cleanest parts of the car first and progressively getting to the dirtier parts. If you were to start at the bottom, you would pick up all the debris and contamination that's there, get it into your wash media, in this case the sponge, and then you'd be dragging it across other parts of the car. So whatever you are doing, make sure you're doing this in a top to bottom fashion. Now it is cold outside and the surface of the paint isn't getting too hot or anything like that. And one of the issues that you normally have to deal with, especially being a mobile detailer, is like your surface dwell time. All right, so if you have soap on the surface, how long can you afford to let it sit there before it starts to dry out and the moisture evaporates, and then that chemical leaves behind some type of stain on the surface, like a hard water spot? And the polymers in Optimum No Rinse, they won't do that. So even if this was, an 80 or a 90 degree day, which we regularly get in the summer, I wouldn't have to worry about what's here sitting and drying on the surface. It's not going to leave any water spots. So I can get around the whole car here, do it all at once, and then come back with the clay and then get ready to dry it. Another big key for winter detailing, in addition to having some type of hoseless alternative, is prep your buckets before you go. Because if you're out here with just regular tap water coming out of the ground, it's just going to be freezing cold, right? And in this case, the customer didn't even have his water turned on, so didn't have access to a hose. But wake up early, get yourself a couple of pots, put them on the stove, fill them up with water. You don't need to get it to a rolling boil, but get those things heated up before you head out the door, and you're golden. Having gloves like these too. These are actually the liners to a pair of snowboarding gloves that I keep underneath the latex. Keeps my hands warm. I still have all my dexterity and movement, and I can articulate well. I can grab things, pick things up without having any issues. Now for claying, we're just gonna do the same thing. Pump this up, cover our surfaces, get it nice and lubricated. All right, definitely when you're claying, this is where you wanna be generous with this stuff. You wanna make sure that everything is gonna glide away nicely. You know, friction is what makes these clay bars work, but you don't want it to do any damage to the surface because it's not lubricated. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that gritty sound of the paint here, this paint has a ton of heavy contaminant stuck to it. And when you're claying, an easy way to tell if it's time to move on to the next section is, does that sort of gritty sound go away? And when it does, you know that you've picked up a bunch of debris. All right, and what we'll do is we'll fold this inwards, and we'll keep some new sides facing out, and we'll hit this glass. All right, so now that this has been clayed, we're gonna get some Opti Seal on a drying towel like this. All right, what we'll actually do is just put one spray on the surface as well, one spray on the towel, and then exactly where you put that spray, start wiping it in from there. And as you dry, this will cross-link with the paint and provide a nice layer of protection, give it some good gloss too. Just like ONR with Opti Seal, less is more. One spray per panel truly is all you need. And you'll see this metallic red paint has a real nice shine to it. All right, so that's the end of the video here. It did get cut a little bit short, and I apologize. It was just so cold, I ran out of GoPro batteries. Since then, I've been able to order some more batteries, and so I'm completely stocked up for the rest of the winter to get me through all of the recording that I need to do outside, no matter how cold it gets. But nonetheless, you got to see the three main components of the Optimum No Rinse system: washing the car with ONR, claying and decontaminating the paint with ONR, and drying and protecting in a single step with their Opti Seal. Now, I do have another hoseless wash system that I use for these colder months, and I'll have another video like that being put together soon. But for the time being, let me know that you like videos like this and want to see me get better at them by liking the video, and if you haven't, subscribe. The first 100 subscribers are going to be entered into a raffle to win a free complete detail valued anywhere from $600 to $800, you know, depending on the type of vehicle that you drive. But that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.